So when he asked me to do this presentation, I said, AI security, dude, seriously? Should we add blockchain while we're at it? I mean, seriously, how much can we talk about AI security at this stage? And I appreciate, like, Carl came on today and said, you know what, we're going to talk about AI like we do about the network now. And Steve Crocker, who is one of the fathers of the internet, shared once that in one of their first conversations about creating ARPANET, what they discussed was networks are for people. And I think AI is for people too, for now, right, till Skynet comes along. And I figured, how can I share about AI security without making it technical, without going 100,000 feet into the air, and try to combine them both? I think I made a mistake. I think I should have stayed either technical or higher level, but I'm going to try to do both with you in 15 minutes or so, and we hope it works out. So bear with me. So I'm Gadi, I'm CEO of Gnostic. I'm CISO in residence for AI for the Cloud Security Alliance. I've been a CISO, I've been a startup guy before, I'm a practitioner, and I'm trying to leave the influencer bullshit behind. That's the idea behind the talk. So in the beginning, 3 years ago, we had ChatGPT. Now we have MCP and agents. What are we going to have tomorrow? Oracles, experts, sub-agents, hooks. What is hype and what is real? And I think nobody has really defined it well yet, which is fine. But what do we know about agents? Number one, there is workflows that we try to automate, not too different from automating in other ways. There is agentic workflows, which means essentially a reverse, eat your own tail. I get results, I feed them back in, I make decisions, I get results, I feed them back in, I make decisions, which I think is a major shift in the world on its own. I can literally code something, run it, get to a bug, fit it in, fix the bug, and so on and so forth. And then we have autonomous agents. I have no idea what those are yet. A lot of people say they do. I don't believe them. Some people in academia are way more advanced than we are at this stage, but you know what? We'll have to wait and see. So, endless buzzwords. Were agents and MCP actually used? The answer is, up to a few months ago, they said nowhere. In actual enterprise environment, in actual production. Now that's wrong. So in production, I don't know, you tell me. Anybody here uses agents in production? Anybody here knows what agents are? Okay. Where is the business going? Which I think is really, really fucking important, right? And where are the attackers going? How are we supposed to make decisions in security? We're risk executives, right? So where did I think AI would go? Is I was creating the CISO community. I always created threat hunting communities, threat intelligence communities, operational communities. I created a CISO community for teammates. And every single day, some CISO would come along and say, can we talk about AI? What is this AI thing, 2023? And we ended up creating this paper, 36 pages long, about AI in the enterprise. We got a lot right, we got a lot wrong. My personal bet was I started Gnostic with Sunil Yu, some of you know him. And we won the RSA Launchpad, and we were finalists to the Sandbox, and we're a Gartner cool vendor, and we're assigned at this and that, and we have customers. But my bet was on data, was on identity. I ended up, if you know what Henry Ford used to say about, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, right? I created a Porsche. People wanted actual horses. And the companies that got bought ended up doing a platform play where they do one or two things maybe semi-well, and say they do 14 other things, but they got acquired and mine didn't. Why? What changed in this market that the entire messaging around startups shifted to being employee AI security and applications AI security? Can we believe any of these startups? Now, if you're a CISO and you want to buy a solution, you're going to buy one, maybe two. You're not going to buy 14. Can you blame them for making that messaging change? I don't know, but I was wrong. And I don't usually quote the MBA people, but McKinsey came out and says the horizontal plays have failed us. The Microsoft Copilot for Office 365 has failed. And I can't be the security layer for Office 365 if it doesn't work. But the vertical plays, the small plays, the direct plays have been amazing. And we've seen all these startups get bought because there was an opportunity to sell the CISOs something to get started with. Of course, this is just my analysis, but number one is just give me some visibility. It doesn't really work too well, but just give me some visibility. So what we knew 3 years ago is essentially start with SaaS. ChatGPT is not that different from SaaS. right? Why should we think about different policies? How should we even approach it? And for me, yes, start with SaaS, but there are some things that were different, like telling people, don't forget this is not a human being. So the first big lesson about AI that I had to understand, even though it was basic, was AI is probabilistic. It will not repeat itself exactly the same way. You can't trust it to give you the same result again and again. And that changes how we think about security, how we think about enterprise. What we knew 2 years ago, absolutely new, was that context is the identity in the LLM age. Meaning if I'm using ChatGPT, there is no reason for anybody around the world that doesn't even Fort what's his name to ever ask or know how to create biological weapons. When you go to the enterprise, you need something that's about you, your business context, your need to know. With agents, I would make the claim it's about your need to act. But that's beside the point for right now. What we knew last year is that the business has priorities, and businesses change and differ, but generally it was about employee productivity, developers, and support capabilities so you can fire a lot of people and lower your CapEx. So agents don't care, because one of the biggest challenges, even mathematically, when an agent operates is how do we align intent, what we want the agent to do, with the action. It's a huge challenge that some or most people don't even know how to start addressing. And that became the main thing for me to talk about with people. So what does work? The vertical, the specific use cases. And when I talk to CISOs now, and I probably talk to about 30 a week, this is the biggest one. So what did we know 6 months ago? We knew it's no longer about the business. It's that attackers are using AI at scale. I wrote an article together with Bruce Schneier and Heather Adkins from Google. We made a bet that within 6 months, which is very FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We should be very careful as practitioners not to speak FUD. Within 6 months, the attacker singularity is going to happen, and attackers are going through this cataclysm of the world where they can find endless vulnerabilities, automate the entire operations. Very FUD-worthy, but how do we prepare an industry where we have no different defenses to use against AI? And our 6-month assumption was actually wrong. It's much earlier than that. The breaks are the very basis of how we do cyber defense. For example, we assume we're going to have time until the exploit comes out, until worms comes out, until we can patch. That's wrong. It's gone, or almost gone now. This recent Next.js thing, within a few hours, there was already an exploit out there. Then, most CVEs have the function name in them. Can't do that anymore. CVE Genie, cool research showed how they can replicate for $1.13 or something like that every single CVE into an exploit in no time. Let's move on then. Beyond the singularity moment, defense still uses old tech, and we need new tech. We need to do things that are different. And the biggest understanding we had 6 months ago is that code is now non-deterministic. It will not always come out the same way. But I think that code being non-deterministic is the oldest news in the book. Because what we are now understanding in security is about what we do. We are now dealing and moving from deterministic configuration to non-deterministic configuration. What does that even mean? We, in security, constantly look at policy, at posture, at configuration, and we generally want to trust it. But we can't anymore. That sounds scary. There are ways to start handling this. But for me, that was my biggest aha moment that I stole from Sunil, my co-founder. And now I'm saying it's mine because I'm the CEO. But that really shifted my opinion entirely about the 100,000 feet view. What do we do with these agents think? So as one model to look at this, left of boom, right of boom. Something happened. In a world where configuration is now non-deterministic, we have to be way to the left before things even start. Not even at detection phases. How would that work? How would we build our programs that way? Fascinating stuff that I wish I had 2 hours to talk about with you. But just giving you a little bit more. We know now that AI will keep changing constantly. We can't keep up. We need to understand how we can actually demand from our vendors that they keep up, which is a very, very hard demand from vendors. As a CISO, my goal should be, I should not worry about this. AI, agents, whatever it's called tomorrow should just work. But it's something to think about when you do choose to go with vendors. So where the business chooses to go and where attackers are brings us now to this. Agents are out there en masse. Every single organization out there uses them en masse for coders, for developers, coding agents. Cursor, Cloud Code, Windsurf, all of these are extremely vulnerable, highly privileged with usually access to production, having admin on their machine, and so on and so forth. They are attack platforms waiting to happen. And more than that, the attackers are now there at will, attacking this at will, endlessly. And it's not just about the developers. Vibe coding, right? We have people in the organization creating their own infrastructure, their own workflows, nowhere near your CI/CD or training, or whatever other controls you have in place to make sure code comes out well. What are we doing about them? And it's not just about vibe coders, it's about finance, it's about HR. I know CISOs who literally are dealing with finance using Cloud Code to do their job. VCs who use this in their finance departments. Because there are generic agents that are actually really good right now before new agents come out. So attackers, we talked even a month ago, I would have said, hey, every 2 weeks there's another attack on these coding agents. Every single day. Another extension, another MCP. It used to be that coders would go on Stack Overflow, copy some code, put it in. It's about prompts now. It's about English. English is the new programming language, right? Every single day. So if the business is there and attackers are there, how come we are not there as CISOs? I'm no longer a CISO, but we need, I was talking to Sean Marion, who used to be CISO of McDonald's, now Eon Energy, and he said, Gadi, usually I'm on top of shit, and I make priority decisions and budget decisions. But the thing is, if I don't know about something, it's often discovered in data breaches. This is an opportunity to avoid those data breaches. 3 months ago, we might be somewhere else. It's moving that fast. So a couple of ideas here is, number one, we moved from the network to the endpoint to the browser. Now I believe the new perimeter is actually the IDE. It's the agent. And it's essentially a new form of supply chain. We already approved this through TPRM, and there is an entire world of extensions, MCP prompts, that these people are using endlessly without any relationship to what we want them to do or not. So hooks, that's kind of new, a couple months old now. I can tell you Cloud Code already moved from that and is using completely different things. Keeping up is hard. So how do we defend? This is the rule of 2 from Meta. You have untrustworthy input, access to sensitive systems, and change to communicating externally. Coding agents are smack in the middle. They say choose 2 so you can start defending, but it's proving to be interesting intellectually, but not really something that would get us there. What else can we do? How else can we think about this? Is number one, start now. It takes a long time in organizations, you should know, to move things forward. But stop the discussion on whether you should move things forward. Start now. So start with the businesses, where the attackers are, and we all want, right, to have insecurity back to pre-agentic age. And we all think about keeping up with tech and building these programs over years. What we really want to see is just the technology stack, visibility, accountability, enforcement policy. But let's start where we can, and that's agents. And we can't defend against them all. And there are going to be startups out there saying they're defending against them all. And honestly, until we get defensive tech, we should definitely use this offensive AI within the organization. Because if our AppSec is that ancient that we can't really trust it, we should start doing something different about it, or we will be left behind with this cataclysm, and I don't like to use FUD. I'm using it anyway. So LLM, Last, SAST, I don't know, VulnOps, like DevOps, where we have systems that automatically look for vulnerabilities. Maybe even in our vendors looking science fiction into the future, not waiting for their patches, patching on our own. And CISO focused worldwide changed. It used to be able to say, educate your team, start with policy, start with visibility. I honestly know now we know where we need to go. And that's why I pivoted my own startup. Every organization is different. If you're dealing with an M&A right now, you're not going to care about agents, right? I realize that. But we can't wait any longer. Where is your organization at? Where are the attackers? Where are you holding the business back? It truly is an exciting time to be alive. And this is what I'll finish with. I talked to a lot of my friends, and people are feeling old. What happened with Tim Brown? and the heart attack he got, and the SEC being after him, Joe Sullivan is one thing. But this AI thing, how do we keep up with it? What do we do? Can we ever? My question is, we're not outmoded. This is risk, and we are risk executives. We just need to understand a little bit about this technology. We need to understand how do we approach it? What do we do about it? And my advice is, number one, prompt or get the fuck out. It's something with a lot of us. It could be Chris Inglis from the White House or the NSA. Could be Halvar Fleck, the vulnerability research. Could be Gary Hayslip, the CISO. Doesn't matter who you are. You come on, you show for 3 to 5 minutes what you've actually done or failed. What's useful to you in AI. Ron Gula says it's the best resources in the world to learn about AI security. I'm very proud to take part in that. Number two is CISO workshops worldwide. We're going to organize one at RSA. And number three is work with startups because they are on top of this. Thank you so much, and I'll finish saying one more thing. Bottom line is, AI, a lot of people say it's a hype thing. It's going to disappear. That's what they said about e-commerce with the .com thing, and this is much, much bigger. The value I'm seeing, the things I'm seeing people do, is completely crazy. You can get into this. Start by just using it more. That's all I'm going to leave you with today. Thank you so much.